7 minutes. That's all it took for Tiffany Henyard to be out as the Democratic nominee for Thornton Township Supervisor, and she left here.
The unfolding drama surrounding Dalton, Illinois, Mayor Tiffany Henyard has ignited a firestorm of controversy, sharply dividing residents and observers. Allegations of misusing public funds have raised serious concerns about fiscal responsibility, while accusations of voter suppression have cast doubt on the integrity of the democratic process. Fiery public meetings, often erupting with passionate debates, have become emblematic of the tensions gripping the town. Citizens express frustrations and support in equal measure, reflecting a community deeply polarized by Henyard's leadership. Adding fuel to the fire are allegations of Henyard's involvement in personal legal disputes, including contentious eviction dramas. Critics argue these incidents paint a portrait of a leader whose tenure is defined more by controversy than by progress. Supporters, however, see Henyard as a bold and resilient figure, battling entrenched opposition to bring about necessary changes. To them, she is a trailblazer navigating relentless challenges. Detractors, on the other hand, accuse her of unchecked ambition, driven more by personal gain than by a genuine commitment to the community. Public sentiment in Dalton is deeply divided. Henyard administration is both praised for its courage and condemned for its divisiveness. Routine municipal meetings have devolved into battlegrounds, where ideological and political clashes overshadow the governance and progress of the town. Many residents are left questioning whether the escalating drama serves the town's interest or distracts from pressing local issues. The tension between Henyard's refusal to back down and her critics' determination to hold her accountable has created an atmosphere of relentless confrontation. Each new development in Henyard's tenure stokes the flames of an already raging fire, leaving Dalton residents to grapple with a leadership dynamic that is both energizing and polarizing. Ultimately, the question remains: will Henyard be remembered as a trailblazing leader willing to endure controversy to achieve her goals, or as a divisive figure whose political storms came at the cost of Dalton's unity and progress? Her actions have undoubtedly secured her a place in the town's political history, but at what price? As Dalton continues to navigate this turbulent period, the impact of Henyard's leadership will remain a pivotal point of reflection for the community.
I guess anything else? I get sued all the time.
The latest chapter in the tumultuous saga of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard has left the community reeling. Henyard openly defied a judge's orders, declaring her disregard for the legal and procedural challenges she faces. Despite a backdrop of mounting scandals, she not only retains her position, but has also announced her bid for re-election. This bold move has polarized the community, raising questions about her motivations and the lasting impact of her leadership. Henyard's tenure as mayor has been fraught with controversy. Allegations of misusing public funds, claims of voter suppression, explosive public meetings, and personal legal disputes, such as eviction battles, have defined her administration. Critics view her as a leader emboldened by her ability to weather repeated political storms, while her supporters see her as a resilient figure unwilling to back down under pressure. Her open defiance of legal orders has only intensified the spotlight on her actions, creating a narrative that casts her as either steadfast in her mission or recklessly dismissive of accountability. Henyard's announcement of her re-election campaign has further amplified the spectacle surrounding her leadership. Her unwavering confidence has inspired admiration from her loyal supporters, but drawn ire from critics who believe her actions are undermining the community's stability. The political landscape in Dalton has become a battlefield of clashing narratives. To some, Henyard is a crusading leader fighting systemic resistance. To others, she is a self-serving figure exploiting her position to consolidate power. Under Henyard's leadership, public meetings have often devolved into confrontational arenas where her decisions and controversies overshadow pressing local issues. For many residents, the most troubling aspect of her administration is her apparent dismissal of legal and procedural norms. This perception strikes at the heart of effective governance, fueling concerns that her leadership thrives on conflict rather than progress. Chaos has become a defining feature of Henyard's administration, leaving Dalton residents grappling with whether she is a bold visionary willing to make hard decisions or a divisive force destabilizing the town. Henyard's declaration to seek another term reflects either deep-seated confidence or sheer audacity. With public outrage growing and legal challenges escalating, her re-election bid demands scrutiny. Her ability to maintain a loyal base despite mounting controversies speaks to her resilience. but it also raises critical questions about leadership, accountability, and the community's future. Whether Henyard can transform the storm of controversy into a political advantage remains uncertain. For now, her leadership continues to polarize Dalton, placing the town at the center of a political firestorm. The ongoing drama raises fundamental concerns about governance and the impact of relentless turmoil on community progress. As the election approaches, Dalton residents face a pivotal moment in deciding whether Henyard represents the bold leadership they need or a divisive force that hinders stability and growth.
Thing to win, but let's do it properly and let the people really have a voice. The people's voice was...
Trustee Tiffany Henyard's political troubles deepened this month when she was disqualified from the ballot for the upcoming Thornton Township Supervisor election. The disqualification stemmed from an incomplete slate of candidates, particularly the absence of a certified assessor on her ticket. The setback set the stage for a heated confrontation, with Henyard responding in typically fiery fashion. During the caucus, Henyard launched into an impassioned outburst, accusing her political rivals, including Illinois State Senator Napoleon Harris, of orchestrating a rigged process to block her candidacy. "You didn't run any of this the right way," she shouted, directing her frustration at Harris, who also serves as the Democratic Party committeeman for Thornton Township. Henyard's accusations added fuel to an already tense atmosphere, underscoring the deep political divisions and personal rivalries at play. Senator Harris dismissed Henyard's claims, defending the legitimacy of the caucus process. He explained that while caucuses are rare in Thornton Township, they are a recognized tradition in other Illinois townships and were conducted lawfully in this instance. Harris rejected the notion that the process was unfair, framing Henyard's disqualification as the result of her own failure to meet ballot requirements. And however, critics of Harris questioned his decision to employ the caucus system rather than a primary election. They argued that the caucus's limited participation favored his allies and disadvantaged Henyard, suggesting the choice was a calculated effort to suppress her chances. Henyard and her supporters seized on these criticisms, framing the process as exclusionary and undemocratic. Henyard argued that her opponents feared competing in a primary, where her community support could translate into broader success. She characterized the situation as emblematic of a political establishment intent on maintaining its grip on power by sidelining challengers like herself. The controversy has further polarized Thornton Township. Supporters of Harris emphasized the legality and tradition of the caucus process, attributing Henyard's disqualification to her own oversight. Meanwhile, Henyard's allies view the situation as a symptom of a rigged system designed to protect entrenched interests. For Henyard, the stakes extend beyond this single election. She has framed the situation as part of a broader battle for fairness and accountability in local governance. Her vow to pursue legal action has only intensified the drama, drawing attention to the growing rift between her and Harris. This latest episode marks another chapter in Henyard's tumultuous political career, defined by high-profile confrontations and an unwavering determination to stay in the spotlight. Critics argue that her combative style exacerbates divisions within the community, while her supporters hail her as a courageous fighter challenging entrenched political forces. The unfolding battle over the Thornton Township Supervisor election has become a microcosm of the challenges facing local politics. Issues of transparency, fairness, and representation remain at the forefront, as do the personal and political rivalries shaping the township's governance. As tensions escalate, the outcome of this conflict between Henyard and Harris will likely have lasting implications, not only for the immediate election, but for the broader dynamics of power and leadership in Thornton Township. Whether Henyard's legal challenges gain traction or her fiery rhetoric shifts the political tide, this saga has already cemented its place as a defining moment in the township's history.
The judge today declining to hold contempt, but did warn her that if she did not follow the ruling,
The recent caucus held at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium descended into chaos and frustration, adding another contentious chapter to Trustee Tiffany Henyard's embattled political career. With only 600 seats available, many of Henyard's supporters, particularly those arriving late on township-provided buses, were left stranded outside in freezing temperatures. Henyard alleged that the slow pace of admission was a calculated effort to suppress her voter base, accusing organizers of intentionally bottlenecking the process to disadvantage her candidacy. A long line of would-be attendees stretched around the block, enduring harsh weather conditions, further heightening tensions surrounding the event. Following her defeat, Henyard expressed outrage at a rally, framing the adverse conditions faced by her supporters as part of a broader effort to marginalize her voice and undermine her political ambitions. Her boyfriend, Kay Woods, echoed her frustrations, accusing local reporters of biased coverage and publicly challenging their accounts of the evening. This mixture of logistical challenges, claims of voter suppression, and post-event accusations has fueled fiery rhetoric about a rigged system. Henyard's supporters argue the chaos was a deliberate attempt to silence their voices, while detractors blame organizational mishaps and Henyard's own campaign failures. The incident highlights deep political divisions within the community and raises broader questions about the integrity of the electoral process. Henyard's recent loss at the Thornton Township caucus, which removed her from the Democratic ballot for the first time in decades, has become a flashpoint in local politics. She accused Illinois State Senator Napoleon Harris and his team of orchestrating an unfair process, citing slow admissions and other tactics as evidence of deliberate exclusion. However, Harris and his attorney, Burton Delson, quickly refuted these claims, asserting that the caucus adhered to established rules and that guidelines were provided in advance, a claim disputed by Henyard's camp. Despite this setback, Henyard has vowed to run as a write-in candidate. Supporters like Keith Price remain optimistic, believing her name recognition could still lead to victory. However, being removed from the Democratic ballot presents a significant challenge, forcing Henyard to navigate an uphill battle as she works to rally her base while contending with mounting political and personal obstacles. Henyard's legal troubles extend beyond her political challenges. She is currently embroiled in an eviction dispute with her landlord, who alleges that Henyard and her boyfriend, Kay Woods, have failed to pay rent for months, accumulating thousands of dollars in unpaid bills. The landlord claims Henyard changed the locks on the property to prevent access, escalating the standoff. Once a friend of Henyard, the landlord expressed dismay at her behavior, calling it unbecoming of a public official. Adding to her difficulties, Henyard remains under FBI investigation for alleged financial misconduct. Reports suggest tens of thousands of dollars in public funds were spent on questionable expenses, including luxury travel, extravagant dinners, and an $85,000 concert. One particularly egregious allegation involves $43,000 in unexplained purchases, further fueling public frustration. Henyard's recent setbacks have further polarized the community. Her supporters view her as a determined leader fighting against a biased system, while critics see her actions as self-serving and detrimental to the community. As legal battles, financial scandals, and claims of voter suppression swirl around her, Henyard's political future hangs in the balance. Whether she can overcome these challenges and galvanize her base as a write-in candidate, or if her controversies will ultimately derail her career remains to be seen. For now, Tiffany Henyard's ongoing saga serves as both a captivating local spectacle and a cautionary tale, raising fundamental questions about governance, accountability, and the future of leadership in Thornton Township.
Home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now
critics of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard have frequently pointed to her abrasive leadership style, describing her interactions with colleagues as dismissive and authoritarian. During a recent village board meeting, Henyard openly asserted, "I'm the leader they want to hear from the mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing." This statement deepened divisions within Dalton's government, with trustees accusing her of mismanagement and fostering a toxic work environment. Trustee Brittany Norwood likened her experience to being in a mentally abusive relationship, expressing frustration over what she described as a dictatorship. Henyard's leadership decisions, particularly her controversial appointments, have drawn widespread criticism. Notably, she appointed Ronald Burge as Dalton's interim police chief, despite his law enforcement certification being inactive. The Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board warned that Burge was ineligible to serve until he completed requalification. Trustees filed legal actions to block the appointment, labeling it unlawful and accusing Henyard of disregarding proper governance. This decision aligns with what critics describe as a pattern in Henyard's administration, prioritizing loyalty over competence. Similar concerns were raised with former police chief Louis Lacey, another Henyard appointee, who was recently indicted for bankruptcy fraud. These appointments, coupled with accusations of financial misconduct, have led many residents to question whether Henyard is acting in Dalton's best interest or merely consolidating power. Henyard is under federal investigation for alleged misuse of public funds, including extravagant spending on travel, events, and other questionable expenses. Reports suggest that tens of thousands of public dollars were spent on luxury items, including an $85,000 concert and over $43,000 in additional expenditures deemed unnecessary by critics. These revelations have amplified public frustration, especially as Dalton struggles with financial instability. Despite these controversies, Henyard remains unapologetic. She has dismissed criticism as politically motivated, claiming her opponents are attempting to tarnish her reputation. During a Facebook Live session, she questioned the focus on her leadership, stating, "Why is all this attention on Tiffany Henyard? What are they doing that they don't want us to know about?" Henyard's leadership has deeply divided the community. Her supporters view her defiance as resilience and strength, admiring her ability to push back against entrenched political opposition. Conversely, her detractors see her actions as reckless and self-serving, accusing her of alienating colleagues and mismanaging resources. The tension is reflected in the polarized reactions among Dalton residents. While some rally behind Henyard, believing she is a misunderstood leader fighting against corruption, others express frustration over what they perceive as a blatant misuse of power. The controversies surrounding Henyard's tenure extend beyond her leadership style to Dalton's operational effectiveness and legal liabilities. Critics warn that appointing unqualified individuals to critical roles, such as the police department, jeopardizes the town's ability to manage crises effectively. Dalton, already grappling with high crime rates and financial instability, faces additional risks under what many view as precarious governance. Henyard continues to portray herself as a reformer combating political adversity. She has hinted at launching a podcast to share her perspective and amplify her narrative. However, ongoing federal investigations, legal battles, and growing public distrust cloud her future. The ongoing saga of Tiffany Henyard's administration has become a polarizing spectacle, raising questions about leadership, accountability, and the direction of Dalton's governance. Whether Henyard's resilience and ability to galvanize support will secure her re-election, or if the weight of her controversies will lead to her political downfall, remains uncertain. For now, her story serves as a striking illustration of the challenges and conflicts that arise when personal ambition, governance, and public accountability collide, leaving Dalton's residents grappling with the consequences.